is my great pleasure to be stood here in our Sephardi synagogue as we celebrate 150 years of history and heritage on this amazing site. This anniversary is such a special moment because it's an opportunity for us to celebrate 150 years of people coming together on this site, both as a synagogue, as a place of worship, but also as a museum.
This synagogue first opened on the 6th of May 1874. It was the first Sephardi synagogue outside of London, and Sephardi are Jews whose origins come from what is now modern-day Spain and Portugal.
I was born Shirley Rodriguez Pereira. The Rodriguez Pereira family originally came from Holland in the early 1910s. My grandfather came to England. He was the son of a chief rabbi, Benjamin Rodriguez Pereira. He was a minister at this synagogue as a very young man. He met my grandmother and they were married here. My father proposed to my mother in this building. My parents built their lives around this synagogue. Everything they did was connected with this synagogue. I came here every week of my life.
Came to this synagogue all my life. I had my bar mitzvah here, my parents were married here. I've got lots of very, very happy memories of my childhood here and attending services here.
You know, us standing under the chuppah, the ark behind, the lights, the four ushers who were in the entrance hall waiting for us to come into the synagogue.
We used to sit here. My father was sitting in seat 51. I would sit in 53 and my brother would sit there in 55. And it's interesting, but you've got on the bookrest here, there's a crack, and I can always remember as a boy running my finger along that crack. Don't ask me what I did. I have no idea. I have no idea what was going through my imagination.
I can remember being up here and as a child climbing up and kneeling on the shelf so that I could see everything from up there. The building is just so evocative of my childhood.
Albert Pereira, Albert was a real mentor for me, but particularly as I got into my 20s, and he taught me a lot. But as kids, it didn't matter if we were 15 kids, 20 kids, 30 kids. They were all on that tabar. Albert used to have a chair in the middle here, and he would be on his chair, and we would all be surrounding him.
I have very lovely memories of my father's voice, my father singing, standing here, and coming back, it just brings all those memories come back. To share it with other cultures, because I always think there are so many similarities between cultures, and for me that's what should be celebrated.
My highlight of the redevelopment project was certainly walking back into the synagogue after the project. When we left, it was magnolia and the columns were dark brown, but paint analysis had shown this colourful pattern underneath, and so when I walked back in, this green and gold shining building was waiting for me, and it was absolutely incredible.
So many things are so modern now, so straight lines and dull colours, so to see this restored so beautifully, better than it ever was, is just wonderful to see.
The restoration is just beautiful, and it's as it was, and I think the fact that it's still here and still standing 150 years after it was built shows the lengthy connection that Manchester has with the Jewish community.
There was a ceremony here at the grounds that became the synagogue in 1873 where a cornerstone was placed, And behind the cornerstone, the congregation put a time capsule which contained newspapers of the day, coins, and a note saying who was there at the ceremony and what the occasion was. And we knew about the document, we'd read about that in the history book, but we didn't know the time capsule existed, and it was found during the restoration of the synagogue as part of our development project. Really exciting. And as part of our 150th celebration this year, we are going to be putting a new time capsule in the synagogue grounds.
If you want to learn a little bit, not just of the Jewish history of Manchester, but of the history of Manchester itself, come along and visit this museum and take in all that it has to offer, because it has a lot to offer, and feel the connection and feel the history and connect with it.
This year's going to be really exciting because there's going to be a huge programme of events to celebrate our 150th anniversary. We'll have a new menu in our cafe showcasing Sephardi flavours. We'll have 2 amazing seasons of performative programming so people can come and see shows celebrating Sephardi culture here in our synagogue. And we'll have a range of amazing events, all with a little bit of Sephardi flavour to celebrate 150 years of the Sephardi community being involved on this site.
This year is going to be all about the Sephardi communities, because that is a community who worships here in the synagogue. We're going to have special exhibitions and displays in the building that highlight the story of this congregation and the Sephardi history of Manchester.
It will be a wonderful time and a wonderful celebration, and we would like everybody who can come to join us.
Oh, and the food in the cafe is pretty good as well.
We can't wait to see you here, to be able to celebrate our 150th anniversary with you and share these great moments with you.